Welcome to the foundation. I apologize, y'all. I'm a day late on these current events, hence the date on the thumbnail. Is this the Civil War setup? Been looking at this thing with Minnesota and how can it affect the entire country politically, more so than it already is. And yeah, we got an article. We're gonna talk about that. Also, UPS cuts 30,000 jobs. It's crazy. We got the retail apocalypse already went down. Logistics apocalypse is happening now. From what I understand, Amazon is winding down, and HUD orders verification. This is crazy. These are the headlines that require me to do this. Even though I'm a day late, I'm not a dollar short. Let's do the dance. Welcome to the foundation. I am Sot with a T, not a P. Seeker of Truth L, Speaker of Truth L. This is the foundation. Let's jump into these current events. Make sure you check out welcome to thefoundation.com. Sign up for the email list at the very least, y'all. Appreciate that. We are still, I think we're doing a week or so more of the offer with the trustee training, half off of the startup fee. You can access that by hitting the key in the sidebar at welcome to thefoundation.com. You learn how to create trust, administer trust, open accounts, title property, all of it. All of it. This is an educational system that was the function of it ultimately is multiple generational wealth. So this is to be taught down to your heirs, taught to different family members that will be part of the estate. But this is the multi-generational wealth dance, y'all. Here it is. We're still doing the half off of the setup fee. Get you set up into the system. I got to talk to D. Is it a week, another week or something like that? We'll figure it out. But take advantage now. Check out welcome to the foundation.com, excuse me. And sign up for the email list and then jump into the trustee training. Check out the description here, but you have to email us support at welcome to thefoundation.com. That is support at welcome to thefoundation.com or admin at welcome to thefoundation.com. We'll get you set up. Don't have to say much to say, you can say 50% off and we'll get you sorted. Look at silver, y'all. Look at silver. It's crazy. $113. I've been watching this not all day. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Y'all my peoples. I'm going to tell the truth off and on. All day, been checking this out. This has a lot of, the gurus, the stock traders, the fund managers, those in the know are very confused. They're calling for a correction. A couple of guys that I talked to have been calling for a correction, which means a reduction in the price. I don't know. This is different. We got geopolitics involved. We have industry involved because silver is an industrial metal as well as a precious metal. We have consumer buying. We have nation state buying. This is moving. Also gold, $5,302 currently. I would say silver, I'm not giving legal advice, financial advice, trading advice, relationship advice, tax advice, how to play spades advice, gambling advice, nothing. But, silver, there's fractional that you can get. I always recommend people, check out a We Buy Gold store. I would stay away from pawn shops, but, and then you have coin stores, local coin shops. But the We Buy Gold stores are, generally going to get you some good deals. But coin shops, they got fractional silver. You can get a half ounce. You can get a quarter ounce. You can get a tenth of an ounce. You can get a gram of silver. you can get a full ounce. I would suggest that, you take $50, $100 every month and go buy whatever amount of silver you can. Let's do it. As Trump shakes up Minneapolis immigration operation, his White House seeks damage control. They're trying to control the damage. Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, I don't know how they pronounce his name, met with Minnesota Governor Tim Walz yesterday after taking over the president's sweeping immigration operation in Minneapolis. Minneapolis, not Minneapolis. It's not Minneapolis. Minneapolis. As the White House tries to tramp down national outrage over the second fatal pew-pew of a U.S. citizen this month by federal agents. Federal agents. Let's move forward. This is The Guardian. We ran high-level U.S. Civil War simulations. Minnesota is exactly how they start. Minnesota. Developments in Minnesota closely mirror a scenario explored in 2024. In an exercise conducted at the Center for Ethics and the Rule of Law at the University of Pennsylvania, which I direct. So this is the author of this article. Let's jump in this. I want to get to the essentials. This scenario closely mirrors, because the deployment of troops in Minnesota, National Guard troops. You also have federal troops in Minnesota, but these are National Guard troops. Remember, not state guard troops. They're National Guard troops. So the president can, if necessary, federalize those National Guard troops, right? While there are other federal troops, then you have local law enforcement, you have sheriff, you have police, so on and so forth. This scenario closely mirrors one explored in an October 2024 tabletop exercise conducted by the Center for Ethics and the Rule of Law, which I direct at the University of Pennsylvania. This was written by Claire Finkelstein. So Claire Finkelstein directs the Center for Ethics and Rule of Law at the University of Pennsylvania. In that exercise, the president carried out a highly unpopular law enforcement operation in Philadelphia and attempted to federalize the Pennsylvania's National Guard. When the governor resisted and the Guard remained loyal to the state, the president deployed active duty troops, resulting in an armed conflict between state and federal forces. The core danger we identified is now emerging, a violent confrontation between state and federal military forces in a major American city. While our hypothetical scenario picked a different city and a slightly different sequence of events, the conclusions we reached about the possibility of green-on-green violence are directly applicable to the current situation. First, none of the participants, many of them senior former military and government officials, considered the scenario unrealistic, especially after the Supreme Court's decision in Trump v. United States, which granted the president criminal immunity for official acts. Second, we concluded that in a fast-moving emergency of this magnitude, courts would probably be unable or unwilling to intervene in time, leaving state officials without meaningful judicial relief. State officials might file emergency motions to enjoin the use of federal troops, but judges would either fail to respond quickly enough or decline to rule on what they view as a political question, leaving the conflict unresolved. This is why Judge Menendez's ruling is so critical. It may be the last opportunity a federal judge has to intervene before matters spiral completely out of control. Third, we warned that senior military leaders could face orders to use force not only against state National Guard units, but against unarmed civilians, and that they must be prepared to assess the legality of such orders. Any domestic deployment of federal troops must comply with the Department of Defense's rules for the use of force and with the Constitution, including the Bill of Rights. Even under the Insurrection Act, federal troops may not lawfully shoot protesters unless they are literally defending their lives against an imminent threat. Yet such conduct is already happening in Minneapolis at the hands of federal agents. Finally, it is not legal for federal troops to back up agents who are behaving illegally. Every member of the U.S. military has sworn an oath to defend and protect the Constitution. That oath carries legal force. Service members are not only permitted but obligated to refuse patently illegal orders. That obligation is now under pressure. Senator Mark Kelly is under investigation by the Pentagon for publicly reminding service members in a video he made with 5 other members of Congress that they may, and in some cases must, refuse illegal orders. But they were essentially correct. Troops must refuse to carry out patently illegal orders. For members of the 11th Airborne Division, this may soon cease to be a theoretical question. Minnesota may be the first test of whether constitutional limits on domestic military force still hold, or whether the United States is about to cross a line from which it cannot easily return. So, paying attention, paying serious attention to the stuff that's going on up there. I'm going to tell you, the world is paying attention to what's going on up in Minnesota. The several states, administrations are paying serious attention to what's going on up there in Minnesota. So, and this, they do scenarios hypothetically in their institutions, educational institutions, and then suddenly it's happening. There's a large history of this, but I'm not going to get into it because, who wants to strike on their YouTube channel on purpose? Trump says he's hiking tariffs on South Korean goods to 25%. He blames South Korea's legislature for not implementing a deal reached sooner. I guess that's it. Let's move on. UPS to eliminate 30,000 more jobs as Amazon volume cuts accelerate. The shares rise. Anytime a publicly traded company is reducing workforce, it's going to increase its share price. I know it sounds like it's not correlative, but it is. That inverse relationship exists. UPS or United Parcel Service will eliminate up to 30,000 jobs and shut another 24 facilities in 2026. The world's largest package delivery company said yesterday as it reduces deliveries for Amazon in an ongoing shift toward more profitable business. Shares of the company, which also announced fourth quarter results that topped Wall Street's estimates and forecast a surprise rise in annual revenue. It's not a surprise, man. Rose 4% midday trading. Shares of FedEx gained 2.6%, quote, "We're in the final 6 months of our Amazon accelerated glide down plan. And for the full year of 2026, we intend to glide down another million pieces per day while continuing to reconfigure our network." This is CEO Carol Tom, 3 times, I tried, y'all, said in a conference call with analysts, I'm messing around. UPS in January last year said it would accelerate a plan to slash millions of low profit deliveries for the online retailer, its largest customer and a growing delivery rival, calling the business, quote, "extraordinarily dilutive," end quote, to margins. UPS and rivals like FedEx have been battling stubbornly soft demand for delivery services. In 2025, UPS eliminated 48,000 jobs. So last year, 48,000, 30,000 already. And, they may revise those numbers. That's wild. Meanwhile, Amazon is closing its Fresh and Go locations. Amazon is closing its branded brick and mortar grocery stores, with the company consolidating its physical strategy under Whole Foods name. So the closures, which affect, hold on, let me just keep reading, which affect its Amazon Fresh and Amazon Go locations, are announced Tuesday, or were announced yesterday, and amount to about 70 locations across the United States. As a result, some locations will be converted into Whole Foods Market, with an additional 100 locations opening in coming years. That would include the expansion of its new, smaller spinoff called Whole Foods Market Daily Shop. Looks like a little rearrangement. Kevin O'Leary warns Canada over China ties as Trump threatens 100% tariff on the northern neighbor. I don't know if y'all been paying attention or if you remember any of the current events or episodes where I spoke on. This is the U.S. and China. That's what's going on right now. All the other stuff that you see is either distractions, manipulations, or theater. And then there's some real other stuff, but this is U.S. and China. There are going to be NATO countries, Western countries that are going to side with the BRICS nations. It's going to be a problem. I think this is the beginning of it, but it was obvious to me, especially, those European countries over there, because they're very, very, very close to Russia. And if they can't do business with Russia, if they can't do business with China, and they can't do business with Iran, these countries, Iran has a lot of oil. Trump taking over Venezuela, that was a lot of oil that was lost to Russia, China, North Korea. So, these northern countries that are dealing with all this northern polar vortex, deep, cold winters are going to need energy from energy producing countries that are their neighbors. You got to look at Russia. You have to look at Russia. You have to look at Russia. They need food. They need grains. And, this thing, Canada, watch this and watch these countries. Shark Tank star Kevin O'Leary issued a stark warning to Canada over its potential trade deal with China, arguing the communist nation has, quote, screwed, end quote, every one of its business partners during an interview Monday. Canada will be no exception, he said. China is not your friend. O'Leary's comments come as President Donald Trump has threatened to impose 100% tariffs on goods imported from Canada over its potential new trade deal with China. This is going to escalate. It's not just going to be Canada, y'all. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney said Sunday his country has no intention of pursuing a free trade deal with China and that the recent agreement cuts tariffs on some sectors hit by tariffs. Trump wrote on social media that Carney is sorely mistaken if he believes Canada could be used as a gateway for Chinese goods into the United States. It's going to get hot. It's going to get hot. Speaking of hot, this right here, I'm just going to keep going. HUD orders citizenship verification after audit reveals ineligible tenants in taxpayer-funded houses. HUD. You talking about public housing. There's a lot of people that are in HUD associated or directly owned or what have you, public housing, y'all. Housing authorities have 30 days to verify the citizenship or face sanctions after an audit flags nearly 200,000 cases. The Department of Housing and Urban Development ordered all public housing authorities and owners receiving department-funded housing last Friday to verify tenant citizenship and eligibility after an audit conducted with the Department of Homeland Security flagged tens of thousands of deceased and ineligible tenants nationwide. Pay attention. HUD said the audit identified nearly 200,000 tenants requiring eligibility verification, including nearly 25,000 deceased tenants and nearly 6,000 ineligible non-American tenants across federally funded housing programs. Ooh. Ooh, there's a lot of people that are here as legal residents, permanent legal residents. There's green cards. Ooh. Under the directive, HUD said all public housing authorities and participating owners have 30 days to take corrective action or face potential sanctions. A lot. And it's cold, too. It's cold. It's cold in a lot of places. It is not supposed to be cold right now. 30 days? February is a cold month in a lot of places. There's going to be a lot of the courts evictions are going to be popping in the next 30 to 45 days. This right here, y'all. Do you understand the gravity of this situation? HUD said the review was conducted in coordination with the DHS and U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, which operates a systematic alien verification for entitlement system and was aimed at ensuring compliance with existing federal law. Quote, "We will leave no stone unturned. We are proud to collaborate with DHS to execute on the president's agenda of rooting out abuse of taxpayer-funded resources. Ineligible non-citizens have no place to receive welfare benefits. With this new directive and audit, HUD is putting new processes in place to safeguard taxpayer resources and put the American people first," end quote. HUD Assistant Secretary for Public and Indian Housing, Ben Hobbs, said the verification effort is intended to ensure limited housing resources are directed to eligible households. Quote, "Today's action to verify the immigration eligibility of all HUD-assisted households is a major step forward to ensure we put American families first and eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse," end quote, Hobbs said. Listen. We ain't gonna see the effects of this for like good 2, 3, 4 months, 5 months, but this is gonna have a large effect. Google settles lawsuit for $68 million following allegations of secretly recording smart device users. The class action lawsuit claimed Google Assistant inappropriately recorded private conversations without hot words being used, like "Hey Google." That's the hot word they're talking about. Google has agreed to pay $68 million to settle a class action lawsuit, arguing that its voice-activated assistant secretly recorded smart device users in violation of their privacy. A preliminary settlement was filed last Friday in San Jose, California federal court, but still requires approval by U.S. District Judge Beth Labson Freeman. The tech giant was accused of illegally recording and disseminating private conversations after its Google Assistant tool was triggered so it could send them targeted advertising. There's people talking about, we were just sitting here, phones, the screens are off in standby mode, and we're just talking about something. We're talking about dog food or something, and then I'll pick up my phone and suddenly there's dog food ads all over my phone. You think, it's obvious. It's obvious. Google Assistant, which is only supposed to record when a user says phrases such as "Hey Google" or "Okay Google," or when someone manually pushes the button on your device, inappropriately recorded personal conversations when these hot words were not used without the knowledge of users of Google smartphones, home speakers, laptops, tablets, Chromecast media players, and even wireless earphones, man. According to the lawsuit, y'all need to quit playing. Y'all need to quit playing. Privacy is thrown in the trash for convenience. These phones are all in our house. They're in our bedrooms. People sleep with them next to their heads. Users claim they were targeted with ads based on things they had said when they had not attempted to trigger their smart devices using a hot word. Google did not acknowledge any fault, but said it decided to settle to avoid the uncertainty, risk, expense, inconvenience, and distraction of lengthy litigation, according to court documents. Man, they are slick. They are slick. Y'all need to just Keep your phones out of your rooms when you sleep. That's what I do. Of course, I fail sometimes. But I would say 90% of the time, I don't have no device near me when I'm sleeping, man. And understand these devices. Let me stop talking. $1,000 car loan payments are on the rise, stressing household budgets. Melissa Dickerson never imagined she would end up with a $1,000 monthly car payment, especially for a used car. Then her son wrecked her Acura. Fortunately, he was okay, but when she went shopping for a replacement SUV, Dickerson, a paralegal from Ording, Washington, soon discovered it was going to cost her far more than $400 a month she was paying for her Acura. It was quite a shock, she said, who also had to extend the loan to 72 months or 6 years. Quote, when I heard my interest rate was going to be 15%, I almost crapped my pants, end quote. The high monthly car payments coupled with other charges in her household budget, including higher rent, caused Dickerson to fall deep into debt. Quote, now I'm relying on the credit cards to live, to pay for things that I can't pay now. Food and stuff you need, the electric bill, phone bill. You think you'll be able to pay for them next month, but then you can't. Record high car payments coupled with high interest rates are leading to huge monthly car payments for many Americans. A record share of Americans, more than 20%, agreed to pay more than $1,000 per month for a new car loan at the end of the year, according to car sales site Edmunds. High monthly car payments are putting tremendous stress on household budgets already struggling to deal with a higher cost of living. But many Americans need a car for everyday use, like commuting to work or grocery shopping. Quote, regardless of economic conditions like inflation, if somebody needs a car, they're going to go out and get a car. They're going to spend, so the payments are going to stay elevated, end quote. The average used car loan payment is $538 a month, according to TransUnion, which nearly equals the average payment on a new car in 2019. Meanwhile, the average new car payment has increased by $300 or more than 35% since then to $769. Ravi Stevenson's paid $80,000 for a 2022. That's 4 years ago, man. Ram. Well, there's your problem. You ain't buying them Rams. 2,500 pickup. I'm just playing. Rams are cool, y'all. Don't dox me. Which he planned to use in a business he was starting. The $1,019 a month 7-year loan he took out was more than double his previous car loan for a 2013 Camaro. It didn't cause him too much trouble at first. Quote, I was confident I could handle the loan, but unfortunately things took a turn. Maybe about a year ago, it started to be a bit more of a burden, so I was having to come up with a bit more money outside my job in order to sustain it. As you know, the last few years have been tough for a lot of Americans. Ouch. Those are crazy car payments. TikTok settles social media addiction lawsuit ahead of trial. The pause is on purpose. Now we got these social media companies settling addiction lawsuits before trial. It's a wrap, and they knew it, and some of us knew it too. TikTok agreed to settle a social media addiction lawsuit yesterday, according to one plaintiff. To one of the plaintiff's lawyers. The case involves a 19-year-old from California identified as KGM who said she became addicted to social media platforms at a young age because of their attention-grabbing design. According to court filings, she blames her depression and suicidal thoughts on the apps she used and is seeking to hold the companies that designed them responsible. So KGM reached an agreement in principle to settle her case. This is Joseph Van Zant, a lawyer for KGM. Jury selection in the trial began yesterday. KGM's case is one of 3 scheduled test cases known as bellwether trials chosen from hundreds of related lawsuits accusing the platforms of harming youth. The company did not immediately respond to a request from Reuters for more details about the settlement. Meta and YouTube head to trial to defend against youth addiction, mental health harm claims. Oh, you thought so. I didn't think so. For years, social media giants have argued against claims that their platforms harm young people's mental health. Starting yesterday, they will, for the first time, have to defend against those claims before a jury in a court of law. They talk about KGM. The 4 social media companies, TikTok, Meta, YouTube, and Snap, are involved in other cases this year as well, including some brought by school districts and state attorneys generals. Losses could put the tech companies on the hook for billions of dollars in damages and force them to change their platforms. Quote, for parents whose children have been exploited, groomed, or died because of big tech platforms, the next 6 weeks are the first step toward accountability after years of being ignored by these companies. These are the tobacco trials of our generation. And for the first time, families across the country will hear directly from big tech CEOs about how they intentionally designed their products to addict our children. Crazy time we live in. Amazing time. Check this out. Pay attention, Americans. Pay attention to Canada. Liberals. This is the National Post. This is a Canadian news outlet. Liberals say more than 22,000 government-banned guns declared in the first week of buyback launch. Gun owners have until the end of March to declare their willingness to participate in the program. The federal liberal government says gun owners have so far declared their willingness to turn over more than 22,000 firearms in exchange for money under its newly launched compensation program. The figure, released by Public Safety Minister Gary Anandasangari's office, comes 1 week after the controversial buyback program opened for declarations targeting the more than 2,500 makes and models of firearms the liberals have banned since 2020. So, they start high with outrage for certain types of guns on the high end, and then they just keep going down and ratcheting it down to lower end of firearms. So from ARs down to regular rifles, single bolt action type stuff, and then maybe even, sidearms and stuff like that. Wow. Simon Lafortune, I don't know, I tried. A spokesman for the minister confirmed that as of last Monday afternoon, it had received declarations for 22,251 of these weapons. The minister also took to social media to thank firearms owners who had registered. Gun owners have until the end of March to declare their willingness to participate in the program. After that, the federal government has given them until the end of October, when an amnesty period shielding them from liability is set to expire, to get rid of their banned guns, either by turning them over to police or having them deactivated. Ananda Sangari has warned impacted gun owners to heed the upcoming deadlines, and for those willing to take part in its compensation program to submit their declarations early to increase their chances of receiving compensation, which he said will be doled out in, quote, a first come, first served basis. Oh, you better hurry up. Give up your stuff. This is Canada. This is the northern neighbor of the United States of America. So, United States of Americans, pay attention, because this is how it goes down. This is what it do. All right, y'all, I gotta get ready for the show. Appreciate y'all. Enjoy yourself. Take care of yourself. Make sure you say 10 things that you're thankful for before you go to sleep tonight and every night. It's important. I'm gonna do the show a little later in a few hours. I'll catch y'all in a minute. Peace.